Um, I was wondering if you could talk about what did you call it? Being like fast forward with yourself. I'm not sure if I'm phrasing that correctly, but in one of the books you said you were remarking on when you were younger how you were kind of like fast forward with yourself.
Yeah, well, we all go through this, and it's understandable. We're, always we're taught to be that. That kind of gets us going, a momentum. It's like a car when you put it in drive; it goes forward. When you stop, put it in reverse, it goes backwards. Okay, so again, we got the backwards or forwards, and the same with us. Our life is we're usually setting up things and chasing them, chasing something, chasing. Well, we want to be this, we want to be that. Since little kids, wanted to be a fireman, a policeman, or whatever. It's the want to be thing. It's the wanting of something, which is fine, and everybody chases it in their own way. And you see people, you've known them or you did it yourself many times, and it's all fine. You worked, you went to school, you did all these things, and you're always in a rush because you packed your schedule, your life schedule, and so you're pushing yourself, you might say, fast forward, and you're not considering anything. You're only considering what you want. You see, it's the personal self. It's first. It only considers what it wants. So that's where you're basically fast forward. It's like I want. And then when you get that degree, then you want your job. And then when you're at your job, then you want more and you want more. Now you're making it with the business world today. You're making a lot of money as an example. And now you want the house, the car, the family, the want. The wants keep going. So as you understand this, most people don't. They don't think about it in those terms. But realistically, you're paving your own road. And where does that road go? It simply goes. You simply keep going till you don't go here physically. But the real you, that there's still a personal self involved that you still created on the astral, causal, mental, etheric. You still have 4 other bodies, which are part of your personal self too. They keep going. It's kind of like when you're very busy during the day, and at night you want to go to sleep, and the body's tired, but you can't stop your mind. You see, the mind body is still going fast forward, and many times the emotions with it. The astral body too. The emotional body is going because it's like, oh, gee, I want this experience. I want to do this, whatever. My former girlfriend, Heather, in book 2, that's how she was. She, it took me a while to discover, but she would tell me she had migraine headaches almost every day. Takes a lot of Tylenol and stuff, still does. She packs her life because it's like she just has to have every experience there is in life and constantly chasing it. So she wears herself out. That's her choice. And I see her as she had all those years with the boys and the opportunity, but now I see her on the real side. She's shrank in her stature, and she's just going into future lifetimes because it's the family thing with her. She's chasing her family again. And that's her choice. It's not good or bad, it's just choice. And so this is where people get locked into, it becomes a routine. And this is where actually, with my business and what I was doing all those years when I was in the corporation and out in the public, and then 2001 took this reality on, and this really came through me. It wasn't an energy, it was this reality, very, very real. How it came through, and with my business and everything that I was doing, because I was just taking a lot on. That's just how I am. And at a point, I had to step back. It was just overwhelming. And either way, I would have hit the wall or stepping back. I almost died from that. Paul said, you almost died. And that's fine. But I pulled myself up. It took me 3 years going through hell to do that. But this fast forward thing is very interesting, and we all get wrapped up in it. And again, we're the deciders. We're the deciders of that. So I really had to take a look at this. I never lost my intent or my focus, but it was just that personally I was wore out. And I saw this on the real side too. I saw the little self just run like it was afraid because, again, I was facing so much. And I saw the future, and it was huge, and it scared me. And that's that big wave that I talk about in book 2. It scared the little self. The real me was okay, but getting that little self, and it was huge. And so again, I just basically collapsed from it. It's like, whoa, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, you want to climb Mount Everest and be cool and be noticed and notarized or whatever, like everybody else, but you you buy all the gear, you get there, you travel there, and all of a sudden you're standing at the base of it, and you look up, and you just, you know, as you keep looking up the mountain, pretty soon you're looking straight up. And some people, I'm sure, they've just fallen backwards and passed out, you know. It's a lot bigger than you think in your mind. And this is how life is. It's just amazing how it is. So, yes, we get caught up in that. And now through all that process, I had to, at a certain point, make a determination, like a race boat. Yeah, am I going to slow down and be now? Be a real now? And so I've done that. And it's amazing what it is, because everything is now. You can have ideas. I have ideas. I see it. But I don't live the future. I don't chase it. And because it's all free will, you never know what's going to happen. Just like as Val started OCC in January, and you know, we had ideas. We set up the concert, etc. But a step at a time, things began to happen. Because again, you're dealing with other people and their free will. You can make determinations. You can think, oh, they'll like this, they'll see it this way or whatever. See, you can keep trying to think for others, but guess what? It doesn't work. You know, all you can do is present it, and this is where you decide to be a little clever with things, and we did. You know, they were going to say like no at first to Lila, so I created a press release, and the lady was reluctant, but then she said, okay, you see. So again, but if I didn't create that, it was a definite no. So it's being a little clever and creative too, to, you know, again, we were there. Our whole purpose was to do the concert for, you know, the public, for the community, as something to share, very real, in our own particular way. That's it. No secret, hidden agenda. So again, you still have ideas, but you see creation different. It's kind of like now you're playing chess. It's a chessboard. It's a chess game, and you see the players, on the chessboard. So it's not that you have to, you know, run across the board or do something funny. No, you're right there. You just move the players accordingly. That's how it is in creation. And being now, as opposed to being fast forward, is so much better, because now you can actually play in creation, you see, and not so much be the effect of it. You still have to deal with it, but not so much be the effect of it. But you can get better and better and better at this. This is the best part. Is that you create your own course. You create your own journey. You're paving your own road. But it's really not paving the road anymore, you might say, because it's an isness. This is the best part of it. You recognize how this is, and in relationship to creation, because creation is very necessary. We're not going to disappear creation. That's not the idea. We're not going to try and solve problems or save anybody. There's no such thing as that. There's no resolving or solving anything. There's no changing things. No. But you can make transition. You know, when you change things, it's usually interference. I'm not here to change the government. You know, this is where people protest. They're looking to, oh, we want to change, okay, and we're deciding this is what we want. Well, see, you're saying that, you know, we don't care about your free will, we want to change. Well, it would be better, just like what we're doing, is if it's not about them changing, they're not going to change. They already have their agenda. They've already got their plans into the next 10 million years, okay? They've already got things planned out. They're not going to change because of you, all right? So it ain't going to work. So what you do is the boys just start a new position. That's all. They just start something new and fun. And this is what we're doing. So anything can be accomplished in the now, and you don't have to stress yourself or push yourself or go fast forward. Yeah, sometimes you're going to do it, but for the most part, you don't have to. You just be and see what happens. Because again, it's not about controlling anything, even yourself. Yeah. It's not about being in control or out of control. The isn't better. I see it all as is. And this is the fun part. And then from there, everything is available. Everything. And then you decide what it is. And I just look at the world. I just decide, well, what makes sense? And as I looked at this and started this many years ago, I started off with the basics, which is water, the air, and the food. Food is number one. Not love, not feelings, not companionship. Food is number one on the earth for people. So I looked at the basics, and that makes sense. And for most people, they take it for granted. They've forgotten the basics, and so they don't care anymore. So they'll just eat anything. They'll breathe anything. They'll drink anything. Most people, yeah. But some people consciously decide. So because they're, the people that really don't care or pay attention, you might say, they're just too fast forward because they're just so busy thinking that, oh, I'm a very important person. I'm very busy. I can't talk to you now, etc. But when you're trying to talk to them, if they get a call on their cell phone, they got time for that, don't they? They don't have time to listen to something like us that makes sense. So you decide that. Again, you decide your journey. At the same time, with what we're doing and the projects and the Skypes here and everything that's being presented, this is to assist you to get the hint to better understand yourself and the whole of life, so that you're okay. That's all. Because of what you've been through, and I see what people are going through. I really care. I see what the world's going through. I see it. I see all these individuals. You know what means the most to me is when I see somebody step up, come to us or recognize it, and they are really sincere. I look for that sincerity. It's very, very important. That's very, very real. More so than being fast forward, having this or that, or who you are, what you look like. I don't care. I look for their sincerity. Are they sincere? Will they be real? Are they interested in being more sincere and more real? Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so there are those out there, and they're confused because of all the marketing ploy. I see that. And by that very fact, I am sincere to try and do whatever I can to see if they will see what I'm presenting, and that itself aligns itself with the reality, the true, pure sincerity life is, and guess what? Then it all works, and it's everything. So there you go. Any of you kids have any experiences, you and Bob, or anything?
Well, this week I've been, struggling with my eye, but Bob isn't here. He's working. We've had some interesting dreams. One, I was at the seminar, and I had CDs in my hand, and they had the new UU on, and they also had one of your talks on it. And I was passing those out at the seminar. And I've been looking lots of things up about trees and about nature. I used to go to the Ding Darling Sanctuary when I lived in Florida, which was on Sanibel Island, not too far from Fort Myers. And we used to leave at about 4:30 in the morning, get there about 5. And lay down in the grass, the wet grass, I might add, and wait for all the birds to come in. The big great blue herons and the egrets and everything, and the trees were beautiful out there. It was just really pretty. That reminded me, when you talk about your trees and everything, reminded me of that experience. I was talking actually to a great blue heron, and he kept walking closer and closer. I have a photo somewhere because my girlfriend snapped it, and I could have reached out and touched him. He got that close to me. And then, of course, some kids came along with the wagon, and then he flew away. But nice experiences out there.
Yeah, those are wonderful. You know, just you write those down. Anybody can use. We've all got computers. I used to use a lot of print shop before Ava. Now Ava and I do things together because I like doing it with Ava, and Ava's a great artist.
Yes,
But there's so many things that you can, and the imagery is very important. I see that. You know, one image to share these. Share ours or create your own. The tree thing is the big deal. Yeah, we have, because it's in a mobile home park here, in certain areas, there's 3 or 4 areas that have these big trash bins that the rainbow disposal comes and gets once or twice a week anyhow. So I was out there the other night, and some of the times there's raccoons inside the trash cans digging around. I could hear them out there about 1 or 2 o'clock. Oh yeah, you'll see even a family of them walking around and walking on the roofs here. It's really rather humorous. And so there was 2 of them in there, and I was going to throw we have a little basket of trash. I was going to throw it in there, but I didn't do it. I didn't want to disturb them, and I kind of said, hi, how are you guys doing in there? And they kind of all of a sudden abruptly, I was like, huh? And it's like they kind of got up, they started crawling on the side, and then there's a fence right back. They got up and crawled on the fence, and there's a machine there. There's a big electrical machine, and they started to get on that and maybe even go away. Well, I started new-youing to them, just real calmly. And, you know, they were kind of looking around like their escape route, but they were sitting up on this big electrical box. It's probably 5 feet by 5 feet tall by about 2 feet thick. Anyhow, so it's right in back of the 2 trash cans there. And they're kind of looking around, and as I keep new-youing just very calmly, there's 2 of them. They kind of settle down. They kind of sit on their stomachs, and you know, they just kind of looking at me. They're about 10 feet away, and a little higher than my head because this machine's a little bit higher. This electrical thing there, and then after about 5 minutes, I left them. But I just wanted to see what they do. And it was kind of fun. Yeah, I see the raccoons all the time. But if you're very calm, and the animals will listen. But, you know, as I go around, and the Hyatt and Hilton here, especially the Hyatt, has awesome landscape. I like palm trees, the king palms, the cocoa palms, queen palms, etc., and the other giant leaf plants, etc. And I see them. They're all beings. They're just being real is what they are. It's not only that, yes, they're pretty and they're nice and all this. That's cute. But, you know, when you look at the heart of things, you see how real it is. And trees and animals, but especially trees and plants, you know, they're there in the ground. They're rooted. They're there. They're there for life, you might say. And they're very sincere with what they're doing. You see, they express sincerity, and so it goes back to the old tree hugger days. But really, it's always been, and the trees are awesome. It exemplifies, it demonstrates this isness and the sincerity, and so that's what I look for, because that's everything. Yes, these are the real universes. That's how real they are, and on top of that, they're all alive. They are really alive with that sincerity, that purity. You know, that gratitude, everything. That's the aliveness they are. And with our personal selves, that is basically hidden here so much of the time. We express it in certain ways, etc., but more so than even happiness. To see that, again, like the sun shining, I see the sun as pure and sincere. That's what I see. I see the sincerity of it. I see it demonstrating sincerity because it's always there. It's always on. This is the isness. So, yeah, have fun with that. And what's fun is that Ava goes out and takes pictures like the animal stuff that we do, and I like to do the animals and even get funny captions of the animals and then make up little sayings, just something funny and fun that people can relate to. I like that humor with that. And the animals, like Ava had taken a picture of some deer and they have a fence there. And so I decided to make something up. People are thinking that, oh, the deer are in the cage, but really it's the people that are in the cage. And the deer can see that, you see, but the people can't see themselves in the cage. They're thinking otherwise. Again, it's that thinking thing, isn't it? Yeah, so we decide how we're going to think, and you can think any way you want. Life's bigger, isn't it? Yes. Anything else, Sandy? Go ahead.
Oops. Not right now. I've had a lot of experiences with wildlife out there and talking to them. And not too long ago, well, before they really started the construction back there, I had a deer come in my yard, and it was a doe, and she stopped right at my deck. And so I talked to her, and sometimes I sing them songs. And then when she stayed for the longest time, and then there was a little bit of silence between us, and then she just kind of very nonchalantly ambled off and went down to, I guess she took some grass or whatever she was doing, and then she ran through the trees in the back. So I've had one other one that comes to mind is we had a couple dogs at the time, and Scottish Terriers, and I had come home from work, and the dogs were just going crazy. They were out on the lanai, and I went out there, and I said, "What the heck is going on?" And there is a snake on where the screen goes. There's kind of divided with metal, and it has a little ledge there. Well, there's this fat snake. It wasn't very long, and it was just sitting there kind of with its head up, poised, how they go. And so I quick put the dogs back in the house, and then I took a broom, and I talked to the snake and tried to say, well, now, if you get on this broomstick, I will take you outside and let you go across the road. And as I'm talking to him, it seemed to calm down, and I actually got him on the broomstick on the end of it. And in the meantime, somebody else had come home, the roommate, and she got a black plastic garbage bag, and I was able to put the snake into the garbage bag, carry him across to the field across the way, and let him go in the field. And then I looked at the garbage bag in the sunlight that was shining, and you could see all these holes where his fangs had gone through. And I thought, oh boy. But then I looked the snake up on what it looked like on the internet, and it was a pygmy rattler. And I did hear him rattle, so that's how I knew it was a rattler. But that was kind of a neat experience. Bob's had some interesting dreams where he's been in a place where the light was orangish and goldish, and there were all kind of star particles in it. Like I said, I have a lot of stories, but I'll have to write some of these down. I think that's it. That's all I have. We're thinking of stopping at the Universalist Church. I used to do the community hue there, And I used to do a lot of solos for them at their church. And we were thinking of going and stopping and talking to a new minister has taken over there. They switch them a lot. The 5 years that I did the community Hugh, I think they had 4 different clergy there, whatever you call them. And they're pretty open. They really accepted. They do all religions, everything. They even did the corporation when I was doing the Hugh there. And they have a newsletter that goes out to like 350 people. We could do a little blurb for that and see what else we can drum up there. I know Bob wanted to do some type of a talk there. So we'll see what happens. The new guy seems pretty open, so it may work out. We'll see. That's what's happening in Wisconsin right now.
Hey, it's Mary. Hi. Speaking of, I just left. So one of the moms that I invited to our Real Homeschool Facebook messaging, she actually left the group and really didn't want, I guess, much to do or didn't understand. But I was just surrounded by her and her mom friends. And there's this huge, it's called HMN or something, Holistic Mom Network, right? And I was just around a group full of women who aren't vaccinating their children, who are doing nutritional benefits for their kids. We just made elderly syrup and fire cider. So elderly syrup has elderly flowers in it, so it can help with helping them sweat out the kids, a fever, so you can give it to your kids. And then the fire cider is basically just an antibiotic. So, of course you don't want to abuse that or anything, but you can use it as a natural thing. But I just wanted to share because it's huge over in New Jersey, and I'm going to, see what I can do to become more more involved with what they're doing, because I don't know what is here in PA. So either maybe I can expand it over here in PA and just continue to introduce what we're doing. So I don't know, I just wanted to share. I thought it was cool. I was surrounded by a whole bunch of women who were actually thinking, so that's nice.
Yes, thank you, Mary. Thinking women, yes, that's always interesting, sometimes scary, but you'll find out. Yes, thank you for sharing. And yes, people will come and go because, again, it takes a while to understand what we're doing. It's very simple, but at first there's a lot to get through. And, realistically, most people, because, again, we're all in the same life, and it's really recognizing what life is, but first we got to get through ourselves, and that's the scary part. And intuitively, in its own way, people know that they don't want to face themselves and to see what's really going on, but it's all okay. But at first it seems scary, and really that's what it really is. They just really don't want to face themselves, so they use the excuse, oh, this is weird, or what you're presenting is weird. We're just referencing what we're all going through in life. That's all. We're not making things up. We're just referencing what makes sense. And so again, as you better understand it, then it'll be easier for you to relate to these people and their so-called concerns. Because again, there doesn't have to be any, but people create those concerns. Again, they're afraid to look at themselves, but it's all okay. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Have fun.